This is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
And I am Brent Jackson.
Brent, it's state of the market. It's December. We reached the end of 2024, if you can believe it.
It is crazy. It's been a crazy, wild year for sure.
We brought in our favorite guests. We have Lauren Davis from TTR Sotheby's.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
And the amazing, unbelievable, loud, brash Rob Sanders.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate
Very
it.
opinionated.
Yeah.
Very opinionated. I'm wearing my Christmas plum
I love
color for you today.
Beautiful.
Sugar plum.
I knew Lauren was coming, so
Yes,
I figured
thank you.
impress her.
Yeah, so we're just here to talk about, how did your year go? And then what do we think about the market as a whole? The DC market, the broader market, the future, all of these things.
Future.
Predict the future. We love doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start with Rob and Brent. How was your year?
Our
Up,
year was very
Down,
good.
flat? Oh, up.
So we are up. I'm actually just trying to pull up our numbers right now, but we are up almost 45% from where we were last year.
Wow.
What do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
attribute this to?
Hard work.
Hard work,
Hard
ma'am.
work, good
Hard
looks,
work.
Yeah.
Dressed right.
good looking
you know.
team.
Did you do anything different this year?
We did not. I mean, it's plug and play for our group. It's like we do our business planning at the end of the year. We're doing it now. We're having our business plan meeting on Thursday of this week. The entire group gets up, presents their business plan for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, going back to like 2008, I know exactly what and where the business is coming from all the way back to that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just continuing to do what we did last year and doing it a little bit more and a little bit better.
Okay. So is the most of your business past client and past client referral?
So looking back for this calendar year, 50% of our business came from client and sphere. 10% came from referrals. And then our second leading one was agent referrals, which was almost 17% of our business.
What's
So-
an agent referral?
So like an agent outside, an agent from Sotheby's, an agent
got
from
you.
somewhere else giving us a referral to their clients.
Okay.
Mhm.
So 17% of our business came from that pool of people. And then flyers, we had 14%. So we do a lot of letters, flyers, mailers to
Mhm.
our farm and outside our farm.
Well, that's huge, especially in a year where, across the board, nationally and locally, things are just generally down. Lots of submarkets in DC are still suffering a little bit in terms of location or types of properties. Condo market is still a little
It's a little
sad.
soft.
Yeah.
Our price point went up as well. So we're about 30% up on our average price point.
That's
Well,
great.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of leads us to one of our articles here that we're pulling stuff from, the Luxury Overview. November 2024 saw a significant year-over-year increase in luxury home sales, with single-family homes up by 22.5% and attached homes by 7.7%. So when they talk about luxury homes in this article, they're talking about things $1 million and above. Now, I know that's in our market, that's just sort of like,
Average.
yeah, that's a very standard sale. But for our luxury market, maybe that's like 2 million and up. We know that those sales are very strong,
Mhm.
right, Lauren?
I think so. I think the year has been, our team did well. We were up like 25% roughly. And I would attribute it to some of the higher end sales that we did have. So we had some sales that were larger than our average. But I will say in my sub micro market, there's too much luxury inventory right now
Okay.
that's not being consumed. So
Your
it's
sub-market being Montgomery County, Bethesda, that area.
Bethesda, and then dial it down one more time in Edgemore. We usually don't have a lot of inventory. There's only 10 to 12 sales a year in this luxury neighborhood. And right now there are Brent, how many houses over, say, 5.5 million?
There's quite a few. There's
Wow.
more than not that I'm actively selling in Edgemore on a regular basis, but there's more than I can remember talking with the agents that work that neighborhood, like Lauren Davis and others. It's from my recollection, it's probably the most they've ever had in the history of Edgemore.
let's
over 5
say
million.
let's say 8.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're only doing 10 or 12 sales a year in a neighborhood, and the price point ranges from say 2 million to 12 million, and you have 8 houses over 5 million,
Right
now in that micro market, we're seeing too much inventory. So I think that the general trend in what I'm reading and hearing and trying to get ready for is that we do have more inventory than we've had, particularly during the pandemic. And so they call a normal market the markets before 2019. So 2019 going backwards would be considered a quote unquote normal market. Then we had our pandemic market. Now we're finally seeing inventory accumulating, not just luxury inventory on a national basis. It's up 27% year over year right now. So what does that mean? I mean, I think that that's one thing going into 2025. Will we continue to see more inventory coming on? Will that inventory be consumed? Is what's on the market now, either did it come on too late? Is it tired?
How overpriced is it?
Is it overpriced? There's also a stat that says 1/3 of all the listings on the market right now have been reduced. So I just think it'll be very interesting. I think we'll know pretty quickly what the market's going to look like come late January, early February, when new inventory comes on. Are buyers ready to snatch it up, or will we be accumulating inventory? I think that's going to be the indicator.
We can go a little bit into the administration, but I'm interested to hear your talking points on. There's been a lot of activity in the ultra luxury market here in the DMV. Do you think that the new administration coming in is looking at Montgomery County, or are they going to be DC and Virginia based?
I haven't heard of it. And I can't think, there's some Supreme Court justices who live in Chevy Chase, but and actually that's not true. I mean, the Attorney General, there are, and the former director of the FBI. So I take it back. But generally speaking, I don't feel like cabinet members have landed in Montgomery County. I feel like they've micro-marketed into Calorama and then perhaps maybe some into Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think of the cabinet members looking into our market.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about Trump. Obviously, that's our buzziest topic in DC right at the moment. So the other day, I got a call from a reporter who I've spoken to a few times at the New York Times, and she wanted to pick my brain. So I quickly did some stats, and I'd been noticing some high-end sales like popping up through the updates, like under contract, like 5 million, 6 million. 20 million,
30 million,
yeah,
30 million
million
last night.
So here's what I got for stats. Okay, so since the election, so about 1.5 months, 21 listings priced at 5 million and above in our area. So that includes DC, Fairfax, Arlington, Alexandria, Montgomery, like our close-in areas here. 5 million and above went under contract. So 21, and last year at the same time there were 3.
That's massive.
Right?
It's massive.
So, and then you said you looked at just 4 million and above. So there's more.
There's
in the
more.
4 to 5
There's not
category.
that many more, but
Yeah.
there are a few more at 4 million and above.
But that stat is striking. I mean, that's a lot. And now I'm not saying like every single one of them is a Trump person coming in, but like there's some names being thrown around. So we know some of them are definitely cabinet.
Well, I mean, there's the saying you can read in these publications that you can buy Trump. So it's like if you can be within a stone's throw of the White House, can you rub shoulders with the man and then maybe get your way in whatever industry that you're in, AKA Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, that's the best investment that anyone's ever made, right? Put like $200 million into the campaign, and now he's worth $200 billion more.
Have you seen
solid.
it? I mean, I know this isn't a stock podcast, but like his stock it's doubled, right? Since he's been in office or going into office or been elected. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's almost at 500 a share right now.
I know.
The other thing is, I think that given that we're in sort of a seasonal time frame where normally we would see a little bit of a slump, it's also very indicative of action, timely action, that
Totally.
we would be having these high-end listings going under contract at this time when it's normally seasonally quiet. And I also think sellers that were thinking, hey, I have a really special property. I'm not in it for the next 10 years. I might be here. Maybe I'm thinking 3 years. Well, could I leave now? I think some inventory came to market that wouldn't
Right.
necessarily have come to market. So I agree. There's definitely been an uptick. But I don't think that uptick, that kind of transaction translates into a total market.
Right. Are you guys
Correct.
getting the phone calls, Rob? Are you getting phone calls now because of all these big transactions? Doesn't matter which submarket you're in, Capitol Hill, Edgemore, all points in between, but that phone call of, oh man, there's going to be some movement. I want to get my house on the market and get top dollar.
I've actually had, it's funny because every time an expensive home goes under contract, I'm getting a text from either a client or a fellow agent, and it begins with Trump bump, like immediate. And that has become kind of everything that everyone keeps using that all day long. But we didn't wait for people to call us. We're actually going after people. So people that, like, I have a $5 million home that's in Georgetown that we're meeting with her on Saturday, that it's been off and on the market. She's changed her mind a couple times, but now that she saw the Trump bump effect going on around her and in Calorama, we're asking people for lunch and talking to them about, hey, look, now's the time. If you're going to push it, now's the time you should put it on. So a lot of calls have been about, I have a lot of admin staff coming in, and I don't know how they got my name, but I'll take it because they're from like first time home buyer moving here for 4 years, and they only want like DuPont, Georgetown, Logan, and they're 600 to 800. I'll put them in condos all day long. And that's been a lot, actually 2 more calls yesterday. So it somehow I've moved to being a buyer's agent. I don't know what happened, but I'll take it because I enjoy what I do. And Brent can keep the $5 million ones and keep them on for
3 years.
3 years. So, which was the kind of joke. We have other agents in the firm that have these high dollar, and from our coaching and from our coaches in the firm, they would say, hey, you really need to move your dollar amount higher. You've been in the company now for 22 years. Your average is $1 million. I'm like, yeah, isn't that great? They're like, it should be higher. And they're like, you should move towards these homes that are in Great Falls for $8 million. And my response has always been, oh, okay. So I'm going to wait to close it in 3 years and not get paid versus doing my 14 condos and get paid every 14 days. And they're like, okay, fair enough.
I mean, Rob, I'm with you on that, man. Like, obviously when you're coaching agents and you've got hundreds of agents to coach, right? You've got your superstars, Lauren, Brent, and, you've got other agents who they're doing the best they can, right? They may have come from another industry, or they're literally young and just getting started out. Like, how do you coach them? There's many different styles. So that's one of the things you might say to them. But I've been in the business 25 years. And, I think about how I put my year together, right? And it's like, I'm the same way. I chip away at it. It's like, I'm going to get to my, like, whatever number I'm hoping for. Like this year, I think I'm in like the 40 million category. Okay.
That's great. Max.
And so, thank you. But it's not all like a $3 million deal or a $2.5 million deal. I mean, I got some like $500,000 sales, 600,000, but it's like, I'm building that. I've already got like 2 on the books for January, which I love.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can see my year creating again. And I've done this like year after year. And I wish that maybe part of me, if I injected myself in the right, like miniature communities in DC, I would be able to push my price level.
Right.
But that ain't me.
Right.
And
that's where we have one team member, Mattia, on our group who goes after everything, right? Like we keep moving him from even rentals, all the way up to, and he goes, I love what I do. I'm about making money and I want to help the customer. So he is a big volume, always about volume. And when I'm in there and I'm looking at, like, Brent's probably got 3-4 millions coming on in January. He's got 12 million come on in 3 homes. I'm sitting here looking at, okay, I've got 5, 800 to 1 million. I'm like, I'm going to have to really work hard. But I think when I look in the computer, I always pick up yours because I go, if I'm in, let's say, a Union Row building, so are you.
Right.
If I'm in Adams Morgan, so are you. So I keep going back to, like, you've been there as long as I've been there. And I compare back and forth. I think he's another one that just enjoys what he does and he puts it all together. And in the end, is that 40 million.
Well, I also think I want to have a variety of sales prices because I want to have the touch points. I want to have the first time home buyer
Absolutely.
who's, single, wants to get their first studio or one bedroom downtown. I mean, no greater joy than the clients that have been single, had a studio, called me to get a one bedroom because they got a promotion, became engaged, they had a baby, had to move, so they got a 2-bedroom condo. Then they call a few years later for a house. It's like, after doing this 22, 23 years, I want to be a part of the cycle. And you don't want to cut yourself out of the beginning because then you're cut out of the whole, evolution of their home buying process. So I don't want to be perceived as I only handle X or Y. I want to do it all because, again, I enjoy what I do too. There's a lot of satisfaction with helping somebody get their first place. And there's a lot of satisfaction when they call you and you can see that they've made money and that's a stepping stone to catapult them to their second home. So I think it's,
So
number
you
of
guys-
transactions.
So you're both general practitioners.
Yes.
Is there anything that you won't do as far as like a location or a price point? Max, you too.
I mean, I can't. I'm not going to say I won't do something for location just for. I don't want to lose my license.
Right.
But as I've gotten older and just more like set in my ways, there are distances I won't cover. I'll put it that way. Okay, where I used to like run all the way out to Silver Spring or something to show a house, or
I'll
like,
do Silver Spring.
I just did one. I'm
I
thinking
love
all
it.
the way.
Yeah, it's not
That's
far.
Montgomery County.
all right, I'll do Silver Spring too.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
thank you. It moves in 10 days.
But no, I just think of like locations when someone reaches out to me through TikTok or one of my other channels where it's like it's not a super warm lead, someone that was referred to me, and they're asking about a price range or a location. There are things where I'm like, I'll try to vet it a little bit, and maybe it's going to someone else. That's all I'll say.
I know. I just, mine's not really price point driven. It's more driven by, can I be an expert in that area? Can
Great
I
point.
help them?
Right.
Then I feel confident that, whatever the price point is, that I can do my job. So no, I wouldn't say that it's driven by price point or location other than, am I an expert? That's really, that's what I have to
Right.
ask myself. So, but
I will say I did find myself in Woodbridge this year. Okay.
Wow.
Were you an expert? It was for
No.
the clients that really needed you to help them find a house, like the couple. Wasn't
That's
it the couple? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you dug in. That's
Well,
the
Did you take him to Dixie Bones?
No.
We
I
love
don't
Dixie Bones.
look.
Most
And you don't know
importantly-
Woodbridge.
Shout out
Well,
Dixie Bones.
I think I may have mentioned this client before, but it's like first I wanted to make sure of like what their backgrounds were. They both grew up in suburban areas, so I'm like, okay, well that's why they might be asking about these different properties that are further south.
Mhm.
But once we got there and they realized, what it is they were looking at there, they knew they wanted to be closer in, but they still ended up in close to Mount Vernon, so not super close in,
Mhm.
but closer to home for me, I guess would be the way to put it. But that was some distance traveled, I'll say.
That's a long way.
That's
'Cause
a
we
long
bought
way.
sight unseen from Manhattan. We started looking in Arlington and we kept getting pushed out because we're getting outbid. This is like in early 2000s. On a map, you're like, oh, it's 15 miles from downtown DC, but it's like 2 hours from downtown
It
DC
is,
in
right.
rush hour traffic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we lived in Woodbridge for a year.
That's right.
So I know it well.
Another interesting thing, just to segue onto a new topic, is there's a prediction, or maybe it's factual, in the fall and into next year that more sellers are coming to market, and it's not necessarily the boomers. Like we think of people aging out, like, are they going to move? The new data suggests that the younger people who bought during the pandemic, everyone was buying property. Now those people are going to be sellers. And the reason is because they have like a family change. Maybe they became married. Maybe they had kids. So now they're sort of outgrowing it because they bought it at a moment in time. And secondly, since they are young, job changes or location changes. So what the stats are is like, it's not necessarily these people that are going to be aging out. It's the people that bought during the pandemic who did accumulate some equity in the property and now have to move for a certain reason. So I think it'll be interesting to see if that actually pans out. Listings I have coming up in January, February don't really fit that description, but let's
We have
hope.
that's interesting. I guess it'll be interesting to analyze that data because
Mhm.
some of those people that bought in like early 2021
Mhm.
paid record prices. Like we set records across the board on almost every submarket.
Mhm.
And some of those that we're trying to resell now, they're like anywhere from like 10 to 20% below what the
Ooh.
neighbors have sold for in 2021. And I know there's been a few that have traded that are losing money anywhere from like 10 to 20% from what
Well,
they
I
paid.
think
in
that
the sale.
happens in a condo building like Union Row has been hit,
Mhm.
where one seller is in a situation and sells under market. It does impact everyone else.
Right.
So it can be hard to get out from under it.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, every condo listing I've had lately that's the situation. Like Navy Yard, Shaw, anything that was purchased maybe it was purchased new even like 4 years ago, and it's all down.
Oof.
Yeah, we
You know.
always talk about new construction as a team, that everyone that's bought new construction has lost money. And
Right.
to verify, we go back and we look at what they paid for it and look at what it's going on now, whether it could be 10,000 to 100,000 off. It's just a fact. Our one team member, Mattia, does all the stats on new construction, and he can't stand new construction because of the fact he goes back 5 years and he looks and he goes, I can't believe they're selling it for that. But it's a fact.
So how long do you think they have to hold in order to,
Oh,
is there a,
Boy.
So you can't even tell that.
Yeah.
You can't-
I mean, I've got one right now listed in Shaw that is it's without question the best value per square foot ever in the building's history offered. It's not under contract, has not sold. And the one that just directly above it did sell recently for only slightly more than this on a per square foot basis. So it's like keeping the dollar per square foot in that building, which is still a fairly new building, under $700 a square foot for those units. And then there are other people who paid, and okay, I was looking at another unit. This is the Perla at 810 O Street. I was looking at another unit in there a few weeks ago that is just a 1-bedroom den unit, and it was on for I think in the 9s. And I was
Wow.
like, this is a dumb price. That's what I was
Yeah,
saying to the
yeah.
agent. And they're kind of like, yeah, we know. And they said they paid over $1 million for it when it was new.
wow.
I was like, how? Like, how did they walk in?
Because there was no inventory.
Right.
So it was if you needed to get in and the rates were so low
Yeah.
that the monthly
Right.
payment
monthly payment
probably
looked okay.
made sense. And now it doesn't make sense. And
Mhm.
that's why we're seeing those adjustments.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
All right. Well, let's talk about mortgage interest rates. We get all this, data every week, like from our different lenders, like rates going up, rates going down. Right now, okay, I got an article here. Mortgage interest rates forecast for 2024. The current mortgage interest rate forecast is for rates to dip slightly in December, but remain elevated compared to where they were pre-pandemic. That's kind of what we were all experiencing, I'm sure.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, there's quite a large delta. And we're talking like a 7% rate versus a 3% rate. So, I mean,
right.
we got a ways to go.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, if we were in the
It's hard.
5s, this market would be cooking.
Yeah.
I think if it does trend down, it's interesting. There was that dip in the rates at the end of summer. So again, a seasonal thing where August, you think of Washingtonians, July and August vacationing and not really being a super happening market. But the rates did dip in August.
Mhm.
And I put 2 things on in August, which I normally would not do. I would push till after Labor Day thinking great activity, great, a lot of showings, a lot of offers. And I think it was a moment in time where buyers felt a little bit more confident. And then I think when we hit the fall market and the rates started rising, I do feel like the market slowed down a bit because they, got panicked again. Like, wow, we might be trending up. So I don't know. Is our new president going to get rid of the Federal Reserve and create interest rates on his own? I
Sounds
don't
extreme.
know. I don't know. Will the rates come down with him in office? I mean, I certainly think that housing has always been a hot button
Mhm.
for the incoming president. So I wonder how that will be impacted. But I mean, we could dive deep on that. Then they talk about doing tariffs, and then the cost of doing construction is going to go up. There's all these factors. But
Right.
I think if rates were to come down a little bit or start trending in that direction, the market would heat up quickly.
Everything I've heard and read, if they go into the 5s, the market's going to explode. Not only like locally, but nationally. It's like
Mhm.
it just sounds better if you're at 5.85 versus 6.25 or 6.75, whatever. If you're in the 5s, it just sounds and feels better.
Doesn't
as a
sound like we're going to
consumer.
get there. That's the only thing. We'll see.
Yeah, it's
We'll
a
see.
wild card. Like to your point, nobody knows with the incoming president, like any influence he has over the
Right.
Fed.
Right. The other thing I heard was there's a pretty big shortage on inventory in the Northeast, and they're saying that it's because fewer people are moving to Florida these days. So like our snowbirds buying a home and moving to Florida because the property insurance has gone up so much because of all the claims,
Or like
and
impossible to get insurance.
yes, or
Yeah.
impossible to get it, and just the general concern of living in a place where you could have a natural disaster. So that's interesting. So our friends in Boston New England do not have a lot of inventory. So their market, I think, is probably doing quite well right now.
Florida's down. Like I know not only the insurance factor, but whatever they're doing for the building reserves.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Like
condos
our
are
fee
tricky.
almost doubled down
Oh,
in
did it?
Delray just because we have to have a certain amount in reserves for the catastrophic
Right,
event that may or may not ever take place. But that's across the
Right.
board,
right.
all the way down in South Florida.
So it's become less desirable.
Less desirable. It'll bounce back for sure once all those buildings stabilize and it's like, okay, this is the new norm. I mean,
Could be a
Florida,
good time to buy.
Yeah.
If you have the stomach for it. Hmm.
Well, it's okay. I mean, that's like how I think about the DC condo market. You're looking at these properties that were like, take that example of that condo that was over $1 million before, and now it's into the nines. And it's like, if that seller is very realistic about selling it, and we're talking about like their dollar per square foot, they're asking something like 1,100, and we're looking at like a dollar per square foot that's like 700.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Yeah.
is it a good buy? I don't know.
But that's
you
the
know?
thing. Is it a good buy? Where's the trough? Like, how long do these cycles go?
Right,
Right.
right.
And I mean, we're all experienced enough to have seen like the last time this happened was just 2006, where the market was kind of haywire with condos. There was like all
Mhm.
that new inventory. Rob, how much junk was out there like in those years too, that people were just buying off pieces of paper?
Just junk, a
Yep.
lot of junk.
Right.
Yep. Just people were completely just buying like a frenzy on it.
Yeah.
Which is just shocking to me. I wish I could go back and track if I had the time to look at all the properties now, like what they're worth or what the
From the things that were new construction in
In that
06,
era,
08,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
and
would be
it's
fascinating.
funny that you brought up, and I hate to, we won't say the building, but the fact that you're watching that one, because we were watching it too, and we were like, there's no way they're getting $1 million or 925, whatever. We looked at it, and then you either went on or you represented the buyer, and you were in the high sevens,
Right.
and it was the same unit. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what in the world is going on? And I thought of that agent, and I think he's our competitor with 3 initials. He still has it, and I'm
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
yeah.
I wanted to call him and go, what's going on here? Like, I think you had either put one on, Paul Pike had put one on. I'm
Yeah.
thinking they're both 110,000 lower.
But yours isn't
than
under
that.
a contract.
Well, you're talking about one earlier this year that we
Yeah,
did
yeah.
sell.
Okay.
The one now is not under contract. It's just a slightly larger unit, different price point. It's in the
Mhm.
nines, but it's
Mhm.
still like on a per square foot basis.
A
It's
bargain.
kind of a, no, I wouldn't call it an extreme value, but it's definitely a value, and there's room.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's room
You
for
know?
sure. Yeah,
You had another situation down at the Bower, if I remember correctly, where it's like,
the
I mean,
corner
you
one.
pulled like a rabbit out of a hat for the seller.
got so lucky
However,
with
that
that.
one worked out
Yeah.
for your client.
I mean, everything's fine. The seller held financing, 90% financing. The
That
seller
was
held
what
to
it
get
was.
that done.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was
And
a corner one, right? The big
yeah,
corner?
yeah. It did have a corner window,
Yeah.
and the buyer. It was totally random. I think I had a contract working on it. The buyer kicked out, and I called this other buyer of mine. He was renting literally around the corner, and I said, "This seller will hold financing. Do you want to come just take a peek at this?" He's like, "Sure," and he made the offer, and the seller said, "Let's do it." I said, "Okay," like.
Wow.
And the seller expressed his concern. He's like, if he's only putting 10% down, I'm at like a risk of like, that's a real default risk,
Mhm.
you know, because there's literally no equity
Right.
in that property. And so far, so good. It's working out. It's on a 5-year balloon note, so we'll see.
Great.
What was the transaction price from what he paid, and was it about the same as what he paid? Was
No,
it up, down?
he paid like high 8s for it, and the transaction price was low 8s.
Okay,
Mm.
so about 10% off of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Plus, he
always
had to hold
told
the money.
I've always told the consumer, like, if you're going into the transaction, you need to, just to break even, it's about 10% just for all the like junk fees, agents, transfer tax, recordation tax, into and out of the property. You need to be 10% over what you paid for the property.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that one's essentially a 20% loss in my mind.
Yeah, and as a cash buyer,
gosh.
it's like
Right.
as a cash buyer, it's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
chunk.
Yes.
I don't know. That's an anomaly kind of deal, but one of those ones that I was happy to get done for those folks, both sides.
So interesting. Like, what would happen? I guess he could sell in balloons in 5, selling for market's better for $8.99,
Yeah.
and then that new owner gets the windfall. So I'm thinking if I'm the seller holding note, I'm like, God, why not just rent it out to the person?
Interesting thought.
Yeah.
I just think he wanted to be unencumbered to that degree. I don't know.
Right.
And obviously having a tenant is a little different from being able to foreclose on someone,
Sure.
right?
Right.
Not that foreclosing on someone's easy, but it's like when you have a tenant that doesn't pay, I don't know. I don't know the mechanics of that. I've never been through it, right?
Mhm. So what kind of inventory do you have coming on in January, February? Do you have a lot queued up, you guys, or Brent and
We
Rob?
do. We have, as Rob mentioned, we have 6 or 7 homes in that 2 million plus market.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of sellers calling us now, to Rob's point, trying to get that Trump bump.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't talk about this, but weather's supposed to be somewhat nice for the next couple of weeks. I mean, not crazy snowstorm or anything like
Mhm.
that. So we have things coming on this week. We have things coming
Wow.
on next week. We have one
Wow.
seller in Capitol Hill, totally brand new, rebuilt house, beautiful inside. It's 3
Price
bedrooms,
point.
$2 million.
Mhm.
And it's literally a stone throw from the Capitol. So
Mhm.
she's thinking like maybe a staffer or cabinet, not a staffer, but
Does it have a separate apartment?
it does.
Mm.
So she's thinking like we're coming on the 26th. Typically we're
Wow.
like, let's wait till after the new year, but this one we're coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have 3 or 4 that are 3.5 million. Capitol Hill.
Close in Capitol Hill is rolling like really
Just
well.
doing that. We just brought one on this past week, 3.5 million. A couple of staffers came through, lobbyists. So we'll see if that one trades. But again, it's all price. The higher end price point in all submarkets are moving right now.
Mhm.
We're seeing it, Wesley Heights, Capitol Hill, Calorama, Mass Avenue Heights. Things are moving in a high
Mhm.
price point.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a lot of little studios, 1 bedrooms, things like that are coming on. Did I miss anything, Rob?
No, you hit it. And I was thinking when you're talking about you're getting all that attention to that 3.5, but then we had a 1 bedroom in DuPont at Northern Exchange, 1401R that we couldn't get rid of, which would have been gone with multiple offers. And it was
It's
like
a great
that.
unit.
It's a great unit. That tight 1 bedroom market just was not moving. And then when we finally did get an offer, it didn't appraise.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm
no.
like,
Oh my God.
whoa. So it did
No.
have me kind of thinking, do I want any more 1 bedrooms? And of course, the next day
Right.
I get 2 calls for 1 bedrooms. But it is how it's how the buyer. I had 2 VA buyers too, so they were very 100% financing. So we had to work around it, but it's just, in other words, general practitioner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take the patience. In other words, I was
Yes.
used to having 1401 close in 2 days, offer on it. Now it took 93 days. But I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. I
Mhm.
walk across from the office, open the door, I'm good.
Mhm.
But my patience, I'm learning a little
You're
bit
talking about
more.
1401 Church?
1401R, Northern Exchange.
Oh, Northern Exchange. Okay.
So what happened with what was the workaround that you did with the low appraisal?
So here's the thing: we had 4 people involved, and each had to kick in $3,000. So
Oh,
seller
really?
came down 3,
Okay.
Wow.
buyer went up 3, and then you don't know this, but we just kicked in $3,000.
Excellent.
Great.
So,
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Brown.
No more
But-
holiday luncheons.
No more holiday
Yeah, no,
I mean, another point is with all the off-market inventory, now that the rules have changed, we can go into this as well, segue into like NAR and like
Okay, yeah,
off-market
sure.
listings. But we're seeing things as soon as we get it signed up, pushing it out, it goes out to our TTR firm first,
Mhm.
family first. And then a week later, we're pushing it out to top agent networks and other agents that are not in that network. And we're getting some really good traction off-market on some of our listings that are coming on the market
Mhm.
down the road.
I think that's if you know who to market it to and you have a compelling product, I think there's really good chance that you
Mhm.
can sell it that way. I don't know. There's always trade-offs. It's like, had it gone to the market? But sometimes properties are unique and you have it priced as such, and you just might find the right person off market.
Right.
But I think that's
So-
a testament to also like the low inventory in some categories too.
I
People
think
are
that's
looking
true.
for, and if they're on that mail list, like whether it's through our internal TTR thing or Compass's coming soon or Top Agent Network, you're getting those alerts. Like you put one in there the other day that there was a lot that you're marketing in Somerset.
Somerset.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he's got a lot in Somerset. You don't know that?
I have a contract on it.
Oh, you do?
I'm waiting to get it signed today. So
Ah.
that's a touchy subject.
Okay.
He's
well,
shopped me around for the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping today we're going to just
He's
wrap
like that.
up.
That's the kind of
Yeah.
agent he is.
I
Like to
guess
play
he
the field.
really feels like he's doing a great job for
Very
the seller.
transparent.
Fiduciary duty to the seller, right?
Well, he like
It'll all go south
he-
now
he-
that we brought it out in the open.
Well, when I saw it, I sent it to Hunter on my team, who sold a lot like a few weeks ago in Spring Valley. This was something that an old friend of my family came to me. I brought a buyer to it. The buyer, it got messed up, and I was like, I'm gonna lose this contact because she's pissed at me.
Oh, no.
Okay, and so I said, Hunter, got anyone for this before she like starts calling everyone else in the city? And so he brought the buyer for that, and he got the lot sold to his investor, and then they already have the new house resold.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay,
Wow.
What street was that?
Upton.
Spring
Nice.
Valley.
Yeah.
Great.
So I called
It's
Hunter.
your Edgemore boy, too.
Well,
Oh, Larry? Oh, he likes to be in
likes to be
Spring
everywhere,
Valley.
yeah.
Yeah, he likes Spring Valley. He
he's
likes
done-
that
he's done-
pocket.
he has done well there.
Yeah.
So with that one in Somerset, I sent it to Hunter, and then I said, I'm sending this to Hunter, and you're like, I've already shown it to those people. You're like doing a
Yes,
whole
he
thing.
has.
I went to like 45 developers. So when it goes on onto the Top
Max,
Agent Network.
Will you please have him calm down and sign my
Yeah.
deal?
But no, when it goes out the Top Agent Network, I had so many developers call me and be like, and it happens to
Yeah.
me as well. Like when I'm called, like if I see something on Top Agent Network, I'm calling the developer, and they're like,
Yeah.
we've already seen it. So all the agents know the same developer. So
Absolutely.
there's some of those that I might not know, but to your point, like Hunter's going to send it probably to the same people that I already sent it to. So I try to give fair
Understood.
warning, like, hey, I've already sent it to 45 people, just FYI.
Mhm.
No, I mean, of
So
course.
he shopped me against 45 people, and I have
So
to-
nice.
Yeah, isn't that nice? This is how we treat each other.
Just
Can't
called
wait
her
for
first,
Thanksgiving.
man.
No, he did. He called me, gave
Mhm.
me a shot, and then he sat on it and shopped it.
Love it.
So look at his face.
I'm trying to remember
He never
the
gets
timeline
red.
there.
Yeah, he
He's
doesn't
br-
turn red. That's amazing.
Never,
I know.
never.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Get it signed.
Good stuff.
Well, so we're going to work on that today.
Mhm. Mhm.
The other thing we can talk about is like the commission.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love the whole new regime of I'm not negotiating for the buyer agent off the cuff anymore. It's like my fee is this.
Right.
We'll deal with the buyer agent fee when it comes in, because they're going to ask in this 1-page document, this is what they want.
Yep.
You should expect anywhere from like 1% to 3%. When the agent are calling me, I'm like, ask whatever you want. I'm going.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Is the seller is willing to pay a commission, and it's negotiable because the agreement says X percent up to X percent, with the little thing under it that says, and it's negotiable. So it's like it's really a moving number.
Right.
And so I agree with you. Let me talk to my sellers and say, this is what it costs to work with me. Are you willing to pay a buyer's agent? I recommend that you do. And we'll put a number in here that says you'll consider paying up to X, but you're not bound to it. You may have to go higher. You could go lower. Who knows? And when the offer comes in, we'll deal with it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I
Me
like
too.
it.
I'm
I do
not
too.
gonna say specific numbers, but yes, I'm already doing that. Like I'm going as high as reasonably possible
Yeah.
On the
because-
listing side.
on the listing side, meaning what I'm asking the seller to offer, because it's negotiable. I don't know what's coming in.
Right.
Like even if I tell an agent a number, I still don't know what's coming in, and it's still not a deal.
Right.
You know?
It's now a term in the contract. So I come from an old school background because my mom was in the business for 40 years, and my first 15 years in the business, I worked with her. And I'm sure that Max can back me up on this, but the agents of that era are like, no, we do not discuss commission. Commission is not a part of the contract. And now it's completely flipped. Commission is very much a part of the contract. It is a term, just like whether I have a home inspection or whether I have financing or not. It is truly a term in the contract. So it's a mindset shift, but I suppose everyone's very clear on what the costs are associated with buying and selling your house.
I still think that the toughest point with the new commission change is the sellers who are of a certain mindset, who are emboldened by the idea that they may not pay a buyer agent commission. Because we dealt with one of those. I know I talked about it on this podcast before, who was vindicated somehow by still getting a contract with an unrepresented buyer, but they said they would not pay a buyer agent commission. They received a really good offer in the first week. They wouldn't sign it. They wouldn't pay the buyer agent
Oh
commission.
my gosh.
Right. And so we were just like, oh, they're, it's going to sit on the market and they're
You're
not
going to lose money.
right. 2 weeks later, they got another full price offer with no buyer agent commission.
No way.
Just
No way.
like the randomness of that.
That is
Would
very
you
random.
attribute that to the location? Because I know the location where
Mhm.
you're a stone's throw away from the Capitol.
Oh, absolutely. I think timing was important for them. But again, it's still very like that's a lucky thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, let's just say 90+% of the
Right.
time, if you reject a full price offer in the first week and 2+ weeks go by, that's gone. Like you're not getting that again. You can hold out for it, but they got lucky.
They did.
And like I said, vindicated.
I was going to say, were they like, I told you it would work out this way?
I wasn't part of that conversation, but probably,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so.
So, can you share, was the buyer have anything to do with the Capitol buildings down there?
I don't know, but probably.
Yeah.
I didn't look them up.
'Cause the thing is, only because I live there, I know like the proximity to the Capitol.
Yeah.
And usually if you're going east of 7th Street, that's too far for them.
Right.
Like, because they want to be west of
Out the
7th,
front
up
door,
to the
yeah.
Capitol, and
Mhm.
even, north and south, there's some barriers
Yeah,
there
that's
as
right on
well.
top of it, that location, no doubt.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's a topic that affects realtors in the city. Driving around, traffic lights. The mayor has, there's a new rule coming out, or it's been out, I think. No right on red, like every red light, not just the
Correct.
ones that are labeled, but it's no right on red. And we won't go into the bus lane thing. That's already been done.
Can you drive in a bus lane? I'm just curious because it says buses
I don't think you
only,
can.
and like usually I'm driving down, I'm following another car that's driving down.
I don't think so. I think if you're behind or you're in front of a bus and you're in a bus lane, they have cameras on those buses. You will get a ticket from a bus.
For being in the bus lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's true.
Well, the no right on red's going to make me late.
Okay, so here's my right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slowing my ass down.
It is, but only in Washington, D.C. can you be late because a motorcade came through.
Sure.
And now we've got the right on red. So I think you got to no right on red. You got to build in an extra 15.
I'm gonna go full Rob Sanders here and say I'm going right on red.
Yeah, but they got cameras,
I have a feeling.
right?
I have a feeling you're going right on
red.
red.
Brought that up. I have been going right on red. It says no right, especially to our office in Logan, right there on P. It's
Yeah.
no right on red, and I do it every day. Well, cameras now are showing up, and I am getting tickets. And
Oh,
what's weird
no.
is- Yep.
Plural.
Give us a tip. Where's the camera right now?
Well, there, and I'll tell you, it's right. I'll give you one that you can't do, and it is crossing over the Key Bridge right there in front of the new building, turning on to GW Parkway. As soon as you go over to the edge of the Key Bridge, you go make that right. It says no turn on red.
Oh.
I do it all the
Columbia
time.
Street?
no,
no.
in Arlington County.
In Arlington County,
you go onto the
as
Parkway?
soon as you come to the Parkway,
You can't turn.
there's a camera right there, and it snaps it. $100.
That's a nice wide open angle. Why do we
It
need to
is.
have
It's
a no
super
right
wide
on
angle.
red?
Probably
I
the-
understand the no right on red when you can't see because there's cars parked in
Right.
the lane. Okay, fine. But we need to keep the traffic
That's
moving.
an important
Yeah.
one. I make that turn 3 or 4 times a week because that's where I play tennis at the
Yes.
Y out there.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful. I think they think people are going to start hauling ass when they get on the GW Parkway. So
It's just-
they want to make sure that you slow down and when they stop
Mhm.
and not like me go right through it and just turn.
Mhm.
Okay, so in Georgetown, the one that is really annoying to me is when you're coming Reservoir Road westbound, and you reach Wisconsin Avenue, which is sort of like a Z intersection. So you hit Wisconsin, and then if you want to continue on Reservoir, you have to go right and then left again. And that intersection, so you've got traffic coming down the hill on Wisconsin, traffic coming up the hill on Wisconsin. But if there's no traffic there, and you can see everything clearly,
Mhm.
there's no point to like backing up all of Reservoir Road up to a block.
Mm.
So there, as
They
far as I know,
think
there's
there
no
must
camera
be.
there.
Oh,
I
you're
go.
going to continue. Yes.
go.
Be careful.
Mm-hmm.
What about the things they've put in the back of the corner parking spot? I mean, they were illegal spots, but like they're all over the city now. So
Right.
it used to be like, oh, I'm going to park here for a quick because I'm going to show this one house or this one condo.
Yep.
Now they've got those like silly white cones that
The-
completely
the-
block up or black
The reflector things.
Right. What is that for?
It's for pedestrian safety. They're called like safety islands or safety zones or something, and it's to slow cars down more when they're turning in any direction,
Right.
so that if a pedestrian has that much more room to safely get into the crosswalk.
Mhm.
And yes, like all over DC, and it's a lot of clutter. They're very ugly. Now they're getting dirty, and it's like I just don't know. They just okay. Another one real quick. So I was going to drop off a Christmas gift at my client's building 1010 Mass the other day. There used to be a row of parking on 11th Street northbound between K and Mass, like just an easy row of parking, metered parking. Bike lane now.
Yeah.
I
Like,
know
so
there are
that's
bike
all
lanes
this parking
everywhere.
is gone.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to park.
Nowhere to park.
For 1010 Mass, it sits on an island now, basically. Like there's no, like how do you deliver something?
11th Street's like that too, going all the way down through the city to the Waldorf Astoria, because it used to be 4 lanes, 2 lanes each
Right,
way,
right.
and now they got that bike lane in, which it's congested now.
Yeah.
We have bike lanes everywhere in Montgomery County, and I just don't see them being used. It's it's the road diet. They're trying to force people into it because it's better for the environment, whatever it is. But it's when you had 2 lanes or 3 lanes and now you have 1 or 2 lanes, you've narrowed it and you've caused traffic. So here we are.
It's like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer's painting the white lines and everything goes from 2 lanes into 1 and causes the congestion. But like they need to do better job of, I've talked about this before, like somehow like policing the bikes, because it is so dangerous. They're following the rules of the pedestrians and the cars.
Right.
They should be
it's
the
like
cars.
whatever they want to do, whatever works for them at that time and place.
Right.
The other thing we could talk about real quick are the scooters, which I think are out of control.
Of course.
Horrible. Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Scary.
They just follow whatever they want to do.
Correct.
They'll be on a sidewalk. They'll be in they're just going whatever
The
they want to
scooters
do.
are crazy. And I just read an article about a trauma surgeon. She said like a typical night in the trauma bay would be an elderly person falling or a college kid coming in who's been hit on a scooter. I mean, that's where we are.
Yeah.
So it's scary. Very scary. So does anyone have any resolutions for 2025 they want to share? It could be work. Could be personal.
So
Anybody?
Resolutions I have, it's funny, we were talking about how we did, 40 to 45% better is more agent referrals. So Max, you happen to have the one at Perla. If you'd like to pass it on to Rob Brent, we would take care of it for you. We'd pay your,
a nice referral fee.
If I send 3 referrals to you guys, I think I'm officially out of business. Like it's over.
Yeah. Lauren, you don't want to come to DC?
No, I do. If I
yeah.
have something in Capitol Hill, it's for you guys. I'm not
Thank
playing
you.
down there. So
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so how are you going to foster those agent referrals?
So we've got a lot of them lately, right? I mean, we had one that turned into be like $3 million front and back. So
is that through Sotheby's network?
It is, yeah.
Great.
It's just agents that maybe have kind of gotten out of the business, or maybe they were taking a long vacation or they've moved. But I do kind of look in. We do track the people that aren't selling. So I can go back in, I can pull you up, and then I can pull one that I think immediate's probably done $1 million a year. I'll give her a call. Hey, what's going on? And that's one of those.
So you're working your local market agents for referrals. We're not talking about the national or international market.
Where I could meet them for lunch that day.
Okay.
I mean,
that's a nice strategy. I like it.
You tell them I'm going to pay you 25, 30%. It's done.
Yes. I think that's fantastic.
I think the industry as a whole, this is a whole other topic, but needs to do a better job at succession planning. It's like those agents and have a meeting with the brokers, like who can they partner up with that will take their $1 to $5 million in volume a year.
I think it's great, but I also think that I know your personalities, and if you can take it into your own hands, I think it's a great business strategy.
Yeah, true.
It's wonderful.
I had one
Max,
agent.
you got anything?
No, not
Come
really.
on. I have a big
resolution.
goal that I'm going to throw
Go
out
for it.
there. It's not a resolution. It's a goal, and I don't even know. You guys would all be in the same category. I don't even know what it takes to get there. But I want to make the Sotheby's top 100 agents.
Okay.
Like Russell just made it last year. That gave me hope. I don't know how much he sells, but that's top 100.
Well, I guess part one of that would be to figure out what the criteria is.
It's just being top 100.
You literally just have to be top 100. Just
you get invited to New York City. There's a big fancy dinner. I've seen all the pictures and the invitation. I want to be a part of it.
That's a good goal.
Maybe we should get more specific. I think Max wants me to really drill down. I'm just going big ideas here.
Because I think if you drill down, I'm sure you can find out what that last year or this year's minimum
what the cutoff was. I know. I'd like to know.
I'm assuming it's going to be 100 million.
It's got to be in that category. But are you as a solo agent? You're a small team. I don't even know who gets picked for what.
I don't know either. but I would assume I'm the same as Russell. I like not dollar. I'm just saying category wise.
Mhm.
So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's big. It could take 5 years. It could take 10 years. It's just like,
It seems
another
completely
goal of
reasonable, actually.
mine years ago was to be on a podcast, and you guys made my
Oh,
dreams
see,
come
there you
true.
go.
So
Well,
things
if,
can
We just keep
happen.
making it happen.
Things can happen.
if it means anything to you,
Yes.
and I will share this with you, I just looked at the last top real producer magazine. You are on the front page
Mm-hmm.
of the top
Mhm.
50. You're one of them. So,
Mhm.
you've got the owner of the company, Rankin and Hyde are fighting it out, but
Mhm.
you're on that same page.
Mhm.
So that is
And
a
those
very
gentlemen
good-
have been going top 100.
they have. And there's only
Yes.
3 that I know from that entire that
Mhm.
are all out of Georgetown. The
Mhm.
3.
Mhm.
So
So anyway, I thought I'd share that.
Okay.
Look, you got to put it
Yeah.
out there. It's scary. It's big.
Manifest. it.
Sounds fun.
That'll be
Bucket
fun.
list.
yeah. And if you want, take that front page
Mm-hmm.
of the Real Producer magazine,
Mhm.
blow it up, put it on your desk, and
Mhm.
then cross it out and put Sotheby's
Yes.
top 100
Yes.
is the goal.
Manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will
It
happen.
seems completely doable. It doesn't seem like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
a big
doable.
number. It's a
It's-
big number.
My guess is it's 100 million for you yourself. I
Mhm.
don't know how, to Max's point, like how does that factor into, like if I want to
Mhm.
go, like I have a team of, we
Right.
have 7.
Mhm.
So like, do I need to do like
Well, I
700
think-
million? don't
I
know.
mean-
Yes.
Probably.
Well, remember that like the top 100 is both.
I think
I'm not
it's
a-
teams and individuals.
Okay.
I don't know. Look,
Oh, it
guys,
could be.
next time you invite me back, if ever,
We'll have the
I'll
answer.
share details. I don't know
You
who
will
I'm
know.
calling. I think I'll just call Philip White directly and just get right to the bottom of this
sure.
and report back to you guys. Okay?
Well, if you want, you can take one of them, which I don't want to quote their stats, but one put that in LinkedIn, and they had 89 million. So
Who?
that is
Wait,
the number.
say it again. Someone had
You
89
saw someone at
million
89
and got in
million
the
and they were
top
top
100.
100.
Top 100. Yep.
Mm.
But see, okay, I'm just speculating. They're probably trying to pull in a variety of people from around.
Mm-mm. I think
No,
it's
then
numbers
why wouldn't you
game.
have like 15 of them from New York? Are there 15 from New York?
I'm sure there are. We don't
Okay.
know who the top 100 are.
It's probably
get that list.
My guess is 80% of that's from your major metropolitan
Oh,
areas.
for sure.
Has to be.
New York,
Absolutely.
Chicago,
But there's like a woman on there
DC.
that sells in Asheville, North Carolina, who's crushing it, who
in
made it.
Asheville.
Yes.
How is that possible?
Wow.
You know,
Did
so
you sell an
I,
entire mountain?
yes, she must be the
Scary.
only
Yes.
one.
Maybe.
But I don't know. So I put a big goal out there, guys.
Okay.
Let's see where it goes.
like
Could
it.
be now, could be 10 years from now.
No, you really put us all in the spot because I don't have any huge goals. Sorry. My goal is to win like a 4.0 USTA tournament singles. Okay.
You got it.
All right.
You got it.
That's my goal.
What about you, Mr. Jackson? What's a goal or resolution?
I
Or
don't know. Stay awake through a movie at one of these movie
Mhm.
complexes
After 7 p.m.
With your weighted blanket.
with my weighted blanket.
Yeah.
If we go to the movies, I'm asleep before the previews are over. I
Mhm.
don't know.
That's a good
I have
goal.
family goals and like business goals.
All right.
Mhm.
Rob, anything?
no, I'm good. I'm
He's working the
concentrating on
referral
agents. I'm
train.
working the referrals.
You want those
and-
referrals?
And I know being here, as you know, we've been here so long that we know everybody. You
Yeah.
know, and I will reach out sometimes, even to Rank, and I'll text him. I'll be like, "Hey, is so and so still here with the company?"
Mhm.
And he'll be like, "Yeah, just barely." So then
Oh,
that
gosh.
that would be. Sorry, Michael, but that would be one
Just
where
barely.
I would
I hear him
text
saying that.
and go, and
Hanging by a thread.
and barely is relative, right? Whether they're doing
I
$1
know.
million
No,
a
wait,
year
whether
or
they
10
hang their
yeah,
license. I mean,
Literally.
that could be just barely. Yeah, it's
That's a good
amazing.
point. Thank you.
Right.
All right. Lauren, Rob, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for
Brent,
having us.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy
This
This
New
is
Year.
our last year
Holidays.
of our last show of the calendar year.
Yeah.
Yes, 2025. Here we come.
All right.
May it be great
Let's
for
do it.
everybody.
See you in 2025.
Yes.
2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.